What is up there, workforce? Chris here with Work To Game. Sorry I've just kind of disappeared. I've been a little busy. Haven't had too much time to stream, but I wanted to get a quick stream in today and kind of talk about a community feedback. So typically a community feedback, we kind of build a bunch of comments together. We've seen the comments, but we haven't really discussed them, especially if it's a collab. Brian and I try really hard not to discuss them, so you guys get to see that for the first time. Wow, this looks laggy. What is going on? 3. Frame rate 3. Why is that so low? Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's see if just getting out of town helps. So, probably because I'm uploading a video right now. Don't upload a video and stream. That seems logical. So, as soon as that's kind of done sorting itself out, it's definitely my client there. I'm not dropping any frames. You guys are seeing the same number of frames I'm seeing. I do want to get in and go over some comments. So we're going to, instead of picking these through, I haven't looked through for any comments that I want to respond. We're just going to start over, and we're going to start with the should you be playing Battle for Azeroth. So we're going to go through just kind of some of the comments here. The simple answer, no. I think a lot of people have made up their mind whether or not they're going to play this game before the game has even come out. And that's not really something we do with a lot of games. They have that kind of preconceived notion because either they've played WoW before or they've had a stereotype around it that could be 10 years old. So it's really hard to see how they would want to do it again. What's going on, Gnosis? It's hard to see how they'd want to go through it again, or they want to go through an experience that somebody else you know, is going through, and expect something different than what they've already kind of preconceived. So let me get outside here. So what I do every day to just kind of do two things at once here is I go through all of my Draenor stuff that I want to do, and then I go through all of my Legion stuff that I want to do. So jumping on down here. And so that's the first comment. Let's move to our second one here. Never played WoW, but I don't think I'll have time to catch up on all the content. Hopefully 14 releases its expansion soon. Well, the thing about 14's expansion is that it is very predictable. Their content is every 2 years, and WoW's is the same. And so if it's an odd-numbered year or an even-numbered year, you know who's coming out. So BFA is what we got this year, which means that we will get 5.0 next year. But the thought that you can catch up in one of these games is honestly just on its own a very dangerous mindset, because you're going to get overburdened as you start to realize that you have so much to catch up with. So some of the systems that World of Warcraft has introduced to kind of allow you to catch up. My frame rate looks much better here, so maybe it was just org, or maybe I was still in the middle of uploading. So what you're trying to do instead of catch up is just play the current content. So what they've done is they've given you a level 110 level boost with purchase of the game. So you already skip to right at the beginning of current content, and then you play the current expansion. And then previously, a lot like Final Fantasies is still set up, your gatherers and crafters, like your professions, they have to start all over, so you'd have to go level up through all these old zones. Well, that's now been completely done away with. So instead of, for example, you Final Fantasy players having a level 70 crafter or gatherer, you would have a level 10 crafter for each of the expansions. So your crafter and gatherer would level up 10 or 15 times to represent each expansion. So you might be, oh, I'm level 10 in ARR, but I'm only level 7 in Heaven's Word, and I'm actually the full level 15, the cap in Stormblood. And so you can kind of decide and pick and choose what ones you want to go back and do, just based on that. And notice you ask, can you change classes in WoW? So each class has multiple specs. So right now I'm playing on a priest, and inside here I have a discipline, a holy, and a shadow spec. 2 of these are different healer specs, and 1 of these is a damage spec. And so that is what I have available to me as a priest. If I would like to roll a different class, then I have to start all over. And so then you end up kind of leveling over. So if you use your level boost blindly and you get all the way in and you realize you don't like any of the specializations you have on a class, then you do have to go back and level up, but there are many systems where a max level character can allow another character to level up very quickly. The most obvious of which is your heirloom system. So I can actually go buy these items, and what these items do is experience gained increased by 10% if I wear this helm. And then I can jump down here by 10% if I wear these shoulders. And then the great thing about this gear, which I have multiple pages of, is that the gear scales with you perfectly. So your alternate character is always leveled perfectly. Like, so if you're level 10, it's level 10. If you hit level 11, immediately, the moment you hit level 10, all your gear scales to level 11. So not only is it an experience boost, but it also makes sure that you're never under-geared as you're leveling that alternate character. And then they've gone back and boosted experience and all the traditional things to level that character up faster. Not to mention that the level boost potion is $60, but you can buy $15 of Battle.net credit with WoW Gold. So like I have 30,000 on this character, but across my whole account right now I have 234,000, so I could buy $15. So I'm a quarter of the way to buying a level boost potion. All right. So the reason we did that little thing, for any of you WoW players out there wondering why I would be back in Draenor content, is true iron ore is incredibly valuable right now, and the reason it's valuable right now is goblin gliders. So I actually won't be selling my true iron ore. I'll be sending it over to my engineer to turn into goblin gliders. So I'll not only profit off the price of true iron ore, but then I'll profit again off of both. And then I come over here because a lot of my daily crafting and stuff requires this Gorgon fly trap, and then when I get around to leveling my alchemist, if I want to power up through the Draenor levels, now that they're separate, I'll be able to use all these Talador orchids and stuff. And if I ever run low on inscription pigment, I can grind up all but my Gorgons. Gorgon seems to be the only one I'm using regularly right now. Those goblin gliders are worth so much, Mike. Okay, next question. This guy hasn't a clue. Sounds young and used to crap content being thrown at him. It's normal. I responded with, I'm not sure what you mean by this. I've played WoW since 2004. I did. I started in December of 2004. And as far as young, I don't know what that has to do with whether or not you know anything about a game, but in case any of you are wondering, I am 30 years old. Brian's a little older than me. I don't know if he reveals his age here on channel. And I took a break for Draenor and part of Legion. That's true. I basically played vanilla all the way through Pandaria. I even played as kind of a top-end raider during parts of that. And I even went for server first and world first and got pretty close a couple of times. The one time I was actually in the lead was Lich King. I was out in front as the first leveled guy, and I had an exam that I would fail the class if I didn't go take. I studied for the exam to the point that I could memorize the material, and I ran in and I sat in the front row. He handed it out. I immediately started on it, and before he even got to the back of the room, I was done, and I sprinted back to my dorm, and by then I'd already lost my lead, of course. Are you saying there is some part of BFA that you're not liking, was my question. He has not yet responded. It's only been 3 days. And then thanks for putting out content on both games. Mr. Happy said he was going to cover BFA and make more comparison videos, but he's doubled down on 14. Play what you like. Play what you like. We plan on covering both because Brian still adores 14. I like 14 as a game. As far as the 4.3 and 4.4 patch cycle and their focus on, you know, delivering this app that's been so late and underwhelming in its feature list, I've been a little disappointed in the game for this brief window, but as far as a long-term relationship with it, I think it's a very great game, and we're going to continue to cover it massively on the channel. That's why a video just went live talking about 5 reasons that new people should get into the game. And then I have a video coming out tomorrow that's for 5 reasons that you shouldn't get into the game, geared at people who are like, hey, I don't know if this is a game for me. It's like, well, I can tell you, if any of these 5 reasons describe you, then you should not do it. Okay, so what I've done there is I've done my mining, I've done my herbing, and I've sent out my work orders. So we are done in this expansion. So it is time to jump over to Legion expansion stuff, and then we'll jump to the next character. So I feel like I'm talking fast here, but I'm basically trying to do a community feedback live. So it'll run a little longer than a community feedback, but I hope you bring some of this optimism to 14. I will bring optimism to 14 when there's something to be optimistic about. I get really excited about things. I'm really excited about BFA, but it's easy to be excited about a new expansion. I was this excited about Stormblood too. But you know, there's a chance that WoW does some things down the road that kind of take the shine off the game. We'll just have to see. Great to hear a perspective from somebody who loves Final Fantasy. That's us! We do love Final Fantasy, we do love World of Warcraft, and we're looking forward to getting to both. And then, is Battle for Azeroth a good leveling experience? We'll let those load. and we'll do the rest of those. Okay, so this character, I need Nomi to appear. I don't know what it takes for Nomi to appear. I didn't know if he wasn't here yesterday. I don't know if I have to just get my Draenor cooking up high enough, because Nomi should be like right here. So I don't know how to make him appear. I don't need Nomi because I want this character to unlock all the recipes. I need Nomi because I want the Nomi snacks. So what I'll do is I'll take all the resources that I don't need recipes off of anymore on my main, and I'll push them through Nomi on all my alts, and then I'm kind of converting them into snacks. And then I'll pass the snacks over to my main so I can be done with Nomi that much sooner. So that is everything I needed to do here. I don't have my Legion Fall campaign done here, so there is no reason to worry about doing my class hall stuff on this particular character. So we need to go to Orgrimmar and work on making money, which is really what this stream is all about. This is what my dailies are for. So let's scroll down to the bottom here. Wish I had time to play Battle for Azeroth. I'm hard at work renovating this bedroom. Mural painting is time-consuming work. I have enjoyed what I've played of it so far and can't wait to log back in. Something I did notice that new races are still being locked behind Rip Grind. Yes, they are unlocking new races, but rather than using that as a way to entice people into the game as new players, they're using that as a way to retain players. And so they're locking them behind Rep Grinds so that you can unlock those new races. And then they're actually, I don't know if it's easy to see, might be in character. Could be in reputation. I don't know. But there's somewhere in here there's achievements for leveling one of those characters up from minimum level 1, or I think they maybe start at 20. I don't know. Wherever they start, all the way up to current cap, which is 120, and you actually get a transmog set for that that is themed after that race, which is a very cool system. Okay, so the reason we came here is this is the auction house I prefer to do because sometimes I like to sit and trade chat, and so I like to log out here. And so now I'm going to go into Trade Skill Master, and we're going to make sure everything's turned off, and we will do tailoring first, and there is no tailoring that is profitable, and we'll do inscription second. Inscription, perfect. Let's sort our bags. And so what this checks for is I have set how profitable I expect something to be. I don't know why that's not loading. That's fine. TSM task list, and we can open up. We're going to do inscription. Doesn't look like there's any. It's pretty common for tailoring to be unprofitable. I don't have enough recipes on this character because I leveled. This is my level boost character, so I created it at the end of Legion, and I really haven't gone back and gotten a lot of the old recipes and stuff. So I don't expect them to be super profitable. Go ahead and do all this, and forge documents, which will give me a quest. That quest will give me 10 to 20 gold. In trade for less than 10 to 20 gold. Forge documents. Yes. 11 gold. Perfect. Now, if I open this up, I need to craft 6 ethereal ink, and that should allow me to start making these glyphs. And the goal here is to make these glyphs and get them listed on the auction house. I was listing things on my bank, but I've actually started moving through so many items that I've allowed my alts to just list their own stuff. And then my bank is only a bank for my main. And so if I get anything on my main, I don't want my main dealing with mail, so I ship it off to my bank. And then actually all my alts come to Orgrimmar and they log out here, and this is where I do all of my money making for them individually. It also kind of keeps me off people's radar on the Undermine Journal because I was starting to be in like the top 20 people as far as like people with most stuff listed. Looks like ethereal ink. Oh, there it went. It updated. And so what this does is this automatically comes in and it grabs things that are profitable at the ratio that I predetermined, which is I think 10 or 20% above crafting cost plus a fixed amount, which might be I think like 100 gold or something. Missing midnight ink. That's weird. No, you're not. Am I? I can buy more midnight ink, I guess. Missing midnight ink. Midnight ink is a loss of 6 gold. So let's go see if that is on the auction house, because it is currently a loss to make it. So midnight ink. And we'll see if anybody's selling it, and if they're selling it, they might be selling it at a loss. They are not selling it at a loss, so we will make our own. No big deal. I can make it up on the, so like this glyph here, this glyph of the skeleton, I'm technically losing 6 gold making this resource. Do I have more in my bank? Is that what it is? Oh, they're in my bank. Okay, well. So I lost 6 gold just the same by doing that, as opposed to selling the pigment, which I don't do. But just as far as like tracking your total equity, like how much value you have, I lost 6 gold if I had sold the pigment today versus if I sold the ink today. But since I keep the pigment for myself.
What's up?
Alright. We need midnight ink. Midnight. Search. Midnight. It says it's in my bank. I don't see it. Am I just blind? I might be blind. Oh, now it's not in my bank.
Catch you on the flip side.
Okay. Something didn't update, because now it says buy from the auction house. So we'll just make our own. So we're going to lose 18 gold in total, because it says this isn't a good idea. And we'll see if that makes me money. Because I don't buy my pigments either, so it's assuming the pigment cost. I always mill them down, so I usually make money there. Okay, glyph of the skeleton. How much money did I make on that? So I lost 18 gold, but it cost me 26 plus 18, so that is 34, 44, and it's going to sell for 3,000. So I think we're going to be fine. September 4th, the expansion starts. That's true, Ted. That is when we'll really get a taste of kind of how this expansion is going to play out. Now let's go ahead and jump into tailoring, and we'll craft our Secret of Draenor tailoring for the day. And we'll craft our Hexweave cloth for the day. And then let's go list it, and we'll be done with this character. So let's go to the next comment. I did Dressfar first. Dressfar has been my favorite of the Alliance zones as a Horde player. And every other zone I've tried feels like a disappointment in comparison. Well, that makes sense. The other zones I tried are Trigard Sound and Vol'dun. Now, Vol'dun, I don't know what it feels like on the Alliance side, but Vol'dun is so much fun on Horde, and it's paced so well. I do hear that some of the mid-ranges, because of the way level scaling works, things actually get harder before they get easier as you level up, because the whole world is scaled to your level constantly. So being a level 110 with all your previous Legion, Legendaries, and awesomeness, you're actually overpowered for a 110. And so when you hit like 114, 115, you've replaced everything with quest greens. And those quest greens, you're not nearly as powerful relative to other 115s as you were to 110s. So when those Legendaries fall off, 116 to 118 can feel a little tough in any zone where the mobs are too close together. And that is definitely one of those zones where that can be the case. We're going to run down and we're going to say inscription, and we're going to say post scan. And what this is going to do is this is going to scan all these lovely, lovely glyphs for me, and it's going to post them. And then I'm going to check on Gloom Dust, which Gloom Dust I have been manufacturing. So we'll see if that sells decently. Number 1 player has 19. I'm down at like 14 or something, so I'm a long way behind that. You can only post 3 items at once? Oh, no. Seems to be a little off. If it is off, I just updated it right before I went live, so if I've broken something, what it should be doing here is it should scan everything. We'll reload and give it another chance. And go to our next comment. Thank you, Zoella. Moose, I've really enjoyed leveling this expansion, also leveled up first with Horde. It's amazing to think that whenever I decide to level up my Alliance characters, there are three new zones, whole new stories. Yes, like, there is an entire other expansion, basically, because they did this totally separate continent worth of leveling stuff. So I would love to go and level up my Alliance character at some point. I still have a Night Elf, Hunter that I played in. I don't think this is going to work for me. Let's go ahead and do this first. Gloom Dust. Man, Gloom Dust is falling in price quickly. Ugh. Gosh, that just hurts. And there it is, right there. They are selling it at 20 gold a piece. What is Tide Spray Linen trading at? So I can make Gloom Dust. I can make 1 Gloom Dust for every 2 Tide Spray Linen. Oh, there it goes. Now it's working. Alright. Perfect. It was just slow. What's going on, Immoral? This is Trade Skill Master. This is one of the many auction add-ons out there. TSM4 just came out on, I think, like the 28th of July. So it is still very, very new. I didn't use TSM 1 or 2 or 3, and so I wasn't really familiar with it. So I've had a lot to learn. It is very complex, but very powerful. Very, very, very powerful. How do I scroll the browser source? Like this? This is just Mac. I'm just on a Mac. This is just what happens when you push kind of your Alt tab, Command tab. So I have this window sitting behind World of Warcraft, and so I just tab to it. So if I put it over here and we tab over to WoW, then when we come back, it'll still be over there. So I put it here before the stream. And then I think that's the 2 that I really wanted to jump in on. I wouldn't mind talking about a few things that Brian's probably going to do a community feedback on. So this is probably my chance to do that. He may do his own responses, but I haven't really read the comments section on his video yet, and it is very long. Let's do show 50 or more comments, because you guys definitely have an opinion on this. But keep in mind, he may do a community feedback on this, and if so, it'll be directly responding from the perspective of a Final Fantasy player. I would love to look at it from a WoW player, since that's kind of the goal today. So it says 14 of these are good, clean posts, so we're going to post those. Now it's going to confirm that. An Apple gamer. I am definitely an Apple gamer. Alright, so it posted all of those. The reason it didn't post this is I only allow 1 to be on the auction house at a time, and I already have 1 on the auction house. The reason I have so many is because somebody drove down the market on these, so I actually just bought up. They were listing them at like 4 gold, and they're 26 to make, so I bought them below cost, and then I've been relisting them at their market value and selling them off slowly. So on this character we have 38 auctions totaling up to 24,679 gold. It is not a good time to sell our Gloom Dust because Gloom Dust is trading at Gloom Dust costs me half of, I can get, for every 2 Tide Spray I can get 1 Gloom Dust consistently. So Tide Spray right now is trading at just under 4 gold, which means I can make Gloom Dust at 8 gold apiece, with no profit. That's just straight up roughly where I make it. I have the exact numbers here. So last night I took 1,079 cloth and I ground it down, and I got 412 dust, but then I got 16 of the shards, which are worth a great deal more than the dust. So it averaged out to right around half. They're worth a lot more. They're worth like 130 gold versus 17. Yes, I should probably still be selling dust, is the honest answer. But the only way I should be selling dust is if I'm ready to crank through some cloth. So, yeah, let's do it. Let's sell some dust. And then I'll crank through the cloth that I have, and then we'll deal with that. I'll show you guys how to do that. You make a ton of money doing this. So if you guys have never done a cloth shuffle, it is present in all expansions right at the beginning. Be sure you set this to unit if you're going to do manual listings like this, because I haven't taught Trade Skill Master how to post this. I should go back and check the price of what that guy... Who was the first guy... I need to stop this scan. Okay. Search. There was the first guy to actually list in listings. So these are listing up at like 18 gold a piece. So I would think at 19 I could slide in there and get a lot listed. So we'll go with per unit. We'll go with 19 even. We'll go with 15 just in case somebody wants to bid. We're going to list 10 stacks of 20. And we're going to put them up for only 24 hours. No need to pay the extra deposit because they're going to sell today. And let's just get those going. Perfect. Average BOE epic price is down around like 100 to 400,000 right now. A WoW token is worth 130 to 200,000 depending on your market, because I think like the EU tokens and stuff trade separately. So right now it's at 132. It's the lowest it's been in a long time here. And so I can always buy that. and I can redeem it for 30 days of playtime or $15 credit. And then how many... And then the Dark Moon sets are trading anywhere between 40,000 and 300,000 a piece right now. I have no hashtag. You're right, I am hashtagless. Okay. So, I just listed all this at 380 gold a stack. The reason I can do that is because we can actually go back into this, and we can go to shopping, and we can go here, and I can buy these up. And we're going to buy up everything below 4 gold, because I just listed mine where I'm very, very comfortable. If Gloomdust is trading at triple for linen, you should most definitely be buying linen and selling Gloomdust. Because you can always bring more, even no matter what you bought your current Gloomdust at, you can always bring more Gloomdust back into your inventory for that cost. So as long as off of all the linen I'm about to buy, I can make a whole stack of Gloomdust, we're good. And I can definitely do that. Let me just rescan. Oh, it's so easy, Immoral. It's so easy. So I can open this up, and then basically I'm going to be willing to buy everything up to probably right around 5 gold right now, because I still have all this cloth available. So this community feedback piece is kind of mixed in. I'll be answering any questions, going through kind of anything you guys have. So this can turn into a bit of a TSM rough guide tutorial. I have 3 videos shot as far as like what TSM is and the 2 basic components of how TSM functions. Gosh, these people are dicks. So they list this stuff as stacks of 1 because they don't know how to use their add-on. So they created 467 stacks of 1. It's the reason people don't like add-ons, because if people don't configure their add-ons correctly, that's just inconvenient. Because your mailbox can only hold 50 items at a time, so you're going to have to refresh 9 times to buy that. So, I'll do it, but that's because I can make money at it. And I'm using an add-on. So I just bought 48 of them up. So what's happening here underneath my face is I can show that off a little bit. I try not to show off too much guild chat. Okay. So you can see that chat scrolling right there that's all saying buy, 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 buy. And the failed buys are because somebody else is doing the same thing right now. Alright. That's where I hide my encoder, just in case you guys wondered. So I have guild chat, and then I have my encoder, and that's all kind of kept in that little corner of the screen. We'll buy up another 6. Says not found. It's only pulling them 6 at a time now. I don't know why. Probably because somebody else is doing this at the same time as me. So I'm not getting very many of these, which is fine. We're basically DDoSing the auction house. So actually the auction house has a built-in rate at which it can accept transactions to keep that sort of thing from happening. So when people wonder why their listings, why they were processing exactly that rate, that's the rate at which it expects every single person to be accessing it. What's going on, Dark Lantern? So it is perfectly fine to be doing it that way. Alright, so these are all failing, so somebody else is buying this up, which is fine. I have plenty of linen. So we'll come over to, and we'll pick up the first 50, and then I'll show you guys how this works. So, now it's doing the same thing for my mailbox, and it's opening them all up for me. Because otherwise I would have to manually open all these. And there's plenty of add-ons that help you manage your mailbox. So if you're not using one of those, you're making a huge mistake. It's just way too easy. There are some I like more than TSM, but I like using TSMs because there's behaviors I can program into it, and I just haven't taught it any of those yet. I can teach it like when I find a certain item in my inventory. Like if I'm out questing and I find cloth, every time I walk up to a mailbox, I want it to automatically ask me if I want to mail that cloth to my tailor, since it's a separate character, and you can teach it that. So, what we're going to do now is we are going to go into tailoring, and we are going to make Gloomdust. And I'll show you guys exactly how this works. So, what you do is anytime this linen is at 1/3 of the price of Gloomdust, honestly at half, you can make money. So Tide Spray Linen right now is trading. We bought, over the last several days, I've been purchasing it at 7 gold and below. Gloomdust is still sitting in that almost 21 range, so it's even profitable for the linen I have, but now it's actually Tide Spray linen is on the decline, and so is Gloom Dust. But Tide Spray linen seems to be going down faster. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to scroll down, and this cloak here takes 13 linen. That's key. So it only takes 13 linen and nylon thread. So the nylon thread is actually going to be where we run out. I buy it up several times I buy it up a bunch at a time, but right now I'm just out because I used up, I think I bought 2,000 last time, which it uses it 10 at a time, so that means I made over 200 cloaks since the last time I went over here. Help you leave the brew club? I don't know how to leave the brew club. The brew club sends something to your mailbox every single month. They send you a little ale. I would think once you get the achievement, you would want to bail out, and I don't know that you can ever leave the brew club once you've earned your membership. So we're going to run out here. And this is the new main city, Zoldazar. It's a giant pyramid. And any of my characters that can get to Zoldazar except my main are just level 110. I did the mandatory quest to get the city unlocked and get their professions unlocked, and then I stopped. So right now we are running down to the tailor, because this is the fastest way for this character to get here. I have other characters who can get here faster. Oh, I think I actually need to be slightly one bay to my left. No, this is right. I just hadn't gone down far enough. Alright. So, we need to go to tailoring supplies right here. And I need to buy nylon thread. And I have... How much nylon thread do I have in my inventory? Nylon thread looks like a green thing-ish. I don't see any. I'm sure I have some. Why do I not see nylon thread? Alright, let's just buy 2,000. Yeah. Okay. So, with nylon thread totally taken care of here, now we're going to scroll down and we're going to go to cloak. And we're going to make these. And so what these cloaks do is these take 13 of my linen cloth here and 10 of this nylon thread, which is dirt cheap. And it makes a cloak. And occasionally that cloak upgrades into rare quality. And so that's where you really start to make money, is you break even on the greens and then you make money on the blues. So you have to make a lot of these. Now this only works if you have access to a disenchanter. If you do not have access to a disenchanter, you are losing money on this mess. But my main is a disenchanter, so I can absolutely sit here and do this. And this should work roughly until the first raid, or any time that linen is a third of the price or lower than Gloom Dust. There we go. Now, we will run up here, back to the top of the mountain, because that's where I want to be anywhere, because that's where my portals are, so I'll want to log out with access to portals, just in case, so I don't have to burn any hearths or anything goofy, because there is a portal to Orgrimmar and everything right here. There's actually a portal to Silithus, just in case any of you were wondering. And boom. So, now we send our main a whole bunch of cloaks. And this mail add-on has been working with mixed results lately, but that's okay. You can only put 12 items in every envelope. I don't know, something about the Azeroth FedEx policy or something. Okay. And then we make more. So you drop back down to cloaks, and you keep making them. And so that is how you make money. And I have a crafting upgrade on my gloves, which allows me to craft items even faster, which makes a difference when you're looking at how many items you're making. The sheer number of items here is ridiculous. When I get my inventory nice and clean before I do this, I'll actually make them in batches of 70. And then just send them off. And so we'll just keep pumping through linen here. You can see it's knocking out these stacks pretty quick. I don't have that much linen this time. I only had, I don't know, maybe 700. So it should go pretty quick, you know, 13 at a time. I can actually open my mail at the same time. And I don't know if I can send mail at the same time. I think so. Might have caused a few errors. All right. War turn ends soon. What I'm actually doing right now is I'm creating this gloom dust. So that's how I have so much gloom dust all the time. Like I keep 200 of it perpetually listed on the auction house, and then I have all the rest of this to go with it. Alright, keep on crafting. You guys are catching the trend here. That's the end of my stuff, actually. So that's the end of my cloth for today. And what I would have to sit on the market and do is I would actually have to sit there and buy up more linen to keep doing it. But as long as you do it, you can do it infinitely. How do I... Dumb question. How do I just click to get the items in the mail? You just right-click. So you can drag items into the box, but I can also just right-click. And then I can come over here and right-click and it'll go away. Now, this add-on is not smart enough to stop me from just right-clicking over and over. And it'll error itself out. Like, it'll error itself out and refund you the extra postage, because it's obviously not going to dupe the items. But the add-on looks like it's going to dupe the items, but that's just a graphic glitch. It may be an add-on. There's plenty of good add-ons out there. So if you're not using add-ons for managing your mailbox, you are missing out. You also have things like I can go into contacts and I can check out my alts if I can't remember their names, your friends list, things like that. So if you're not using an add-on to manage that, that is actually the end of my priest for today. So the next, actually it's faster to log out if I just step inside here because I don't have to count down the 20 seconds. If you're in a rested space, it's an instant log out. Log out. And the next thing is my Demon Hunter. My Demon Hunter has a very short list. What's the latest on BFA when it comes to money making? When it comes to money making, it is don't get over invested in one market, invest in several, and look for anything that is still trading in large quantities. So if you use if you use Trade Skill Master, look at the number of items trading per day. If you don't use Trade Skill Master, go to the Undermine Journal. The Undermine Journal. And the Undermine Journal actually allows you to sort it by server, because what's good on my server and what's working for me may not be what works for you. So like I have enchanting, it's a profession I've had since 2004. So I have a lot of enchants. That doesn't make enchants the most profitable, it just means it's the most profitable to me because I don't have access to like jewel crafting. So I have no idea if jewel crafting is profitable because it wouldn't help me to know that. And so this tells me what's currently available in the auction house and what the prices are on all that. Also, what enchants are available in the auction house and what the prices are on that. And then I can actually go in and I can find things and mine is only searching my server. So I can go in and find things like Gloom Dust. I think there might be a space in there. And Gloom Dust on my market, like look at it. The available quantity is in the red, the price is going down. So as the quantity goes up, the price is falling. And so this tells you, you know, is this something that I can make money on? Absolutely. Like all these people here, if you bought up right here and then sold right here, you made a killing. But you know who did that? Monday at 3 in the morning? That was me. I bought all that up and relisted it. So I drove that price. I didn't do this one. I didn't do Fridays. So every time it causes a spike like that, that's either somebody buying it up to use it or they're buying it up and they're relisting. And so I redid that. And it just happened to fall on a time when demand fell, or quantity fell, because I bought up about 600 and I only listed 200. So I actually drove the quantity from 13,800 down to, so it looks like somebody else did it with me because it went down by 1,200 and I didn't buy 1,200. So that's how that works. So you can play the market like that, but that requires capital. You have to have money to make money if you're going to do it like that. The next thing you can try to do is you can farm. Some of the best things to farm right now is what do What do people want that they don't want to do themselves? So right now, everybody is using, for example, Goblin Gliders. But this is just an example because it's going to change. It's going to keep changing. Well, Goblin Gliders take True Iron Ore and Sumptuous Fur. That is what Goblin Gliders require. So the way you can get Sumptuous Fur is you can actually come to your trader in your garrison, and you can buy Sumptuous Fur straight up. And sometimes it drops as low as 16 resources. Right now it's at 32, so I wouldn't buy today. I would wait for a day that it hits 16, and I would buy up a ton of it, and then I would sell it slowly over the next couple days. Keep in mind, on the day at 16, anybody else that knows about that trader is going to be doing the same thing. So it's actually most valuable when it's on one of the expensive days and you held on to it. And so you pick up these resources by coming over here, right? And that 159 resources, I did nothing for it. And then you can actually go into your little guys, and I don't know if this character has very many unlocked, but some of my characters do. And you can go to your table. You could say, okay, awesome. There's 20 more resources. So, and this is going to give me another follower. So let's go on a follower. Yeah, do that. Done. And then these guys just need to level up. If they, as they get more powerful, they'll be able to find better missions, I assume. I don't know. I didn't play Draenor. And that's my 2 followers. So this character doesn't have very much. And then the last thing is True Iron Ore. Nobody wants to mine True Iron Ore. Well, that's fine, because you have a mine in your garrison. So True Iron Ore is so easy to get right now. So, yeah. Gliders work great. Gliders work great. The other thing is, Ted's right. You can buy directly from the people doing it. So sometimes what I'll do is somebody's listing a whole bunch of stacks of 1, and I'll say, hey, if you just send those to me at this price, I'm good for it. And they can just COD it to me. So they just keep CODing it to me, and when the market fluctuates, there are some people that go out and farm, and they just keep sending it to me, and when the price is lower, I keep buying it, and when the price is higher, I keep buying it. I just buy it. That way they don't check the market, and it just comes straight to me. Now I know that whatever they're sending me, I can process into something that's worth more. And they probably know that too. They're just not willing to do that extra step. So like, they'll send me cloth, I'll turn it into tailoring goods and disenchant it and sell it as gloom dust. So they're making money off of their cloth farm, and I'm making money off of my gloom dust, and it doesn't really matter that we're both like making money. Like we're not taking money from somebody else. We're both making money off the market. I'm just sharing my profits to everybody that comes in the process before me. So this True Iron Ore, for example, is selling for 14 gold a piece right now. So right now I'm mining this. You don't have to have mining to mine in your garrison. So I just got 4 off of that. So that was 60 gold right there. Because I also got some stone, and the stone is going to turn into more True Iron Ore if you just give it time. And there was another True Iron Ore, so that was another 20, 30 gold. And then that's before I turn them into gliders, and gliders will drive their cost up by another 50%. There's another 30 gold. So like, that 30 gold becomes 45 if I turn it into a glider and a half. Which is what it does turn into. Alright. So I just run through this process every day, and you make a ton of money. I make 20,000 gold a day minimum. Now I've been spending it right now. So I came into the expansion a month before it dropped with 20,000 gold. And I have been buying mounts, minions, recipes, whatever I want. And I'm still up to 232,000, and it's been 2 months. And it's just, the money just piles up. And I bought mounts that are as much as 30,000 a piece. So I don't make the money because I want to see if I can get to 1 million or anything. I do have a video up on my add-ons, but my add-on list is ever changing, so it's probably not current. So let me finish up this character, and I'll run through my add-ons real quick, and kind of what they all do for me. So it really just depends on your server and what you want to do to make money and what you find fun. Odds are there's something that you find fun that you can make money at. And then what do you want the money for? Sometimes the process of getting the item is more efficient. So if an item is 10,000, but it takes you 100 hours to farm it, and you don't find that 100 hours fun, it might be worthwhile to go make the 10,000 doing something else and come back and just pay for it. But if you really enjoy doing it, it doesn't matter how long it takes. Just enjoy the process. It's a game. Alright. And the reason we're doing that is I want these Draenic seeds to buy the cosmetics that guy sells, because I want them for transmog. And then I also take all these, like, these crops, but I mostly just use the Gorgrund. The Gorgon Flytrap, it says it sells for 2 gold, but when I buy it in such quantities that it's never just 2 gold. So it's nice to have a somewhat decent source of my own. Alright, so that is it in this area. I need to go down to my leather worker. Alright. This guy's super quick, because this is the one character that I have like the least done on. Okay, and have I learned that? Have I learned that? Those all cost 5, my gosh. Collected, not collected. Collect. There we go. Learned myself 2 new recipes. And then send this guy out on some more work orders. Looks like I'm actually low on burnished orders right now. Burnished leather, but I'm not that super worried about my leather worker, so we're not going to spend any money pumping this guy up. Now, that is done, so let me open up Twitch, which is what I use to manage all my add-ons, while we get started on my monk. I'm trying to do as many of these as I can in an hour, because if you just spend an hour a day, I always do it after 10 a.m., so everything's reset, all my daily cooldowns. If you just do all your alts once a day, you can make a crazy amount of money. Alright. So, if I go to mods, and I jump to World of Warcraft, my add-ons. Oh, awesome. I just updated these right before the stream. So, that explains why Trade Skill Master's failing. So Order Hall Commander handles your Legion stuff. Champion Commander handles your BFA stuff. As far as like, that's how I got those % chances to show up before I put the guys in. It already does the math for me, so I can look and say, these are the prizes available, and this is what my % chance of getting them or their bonuses. And so that's just really helpful to make that decision quicker. Trade Skill Master is what I use to manage all my professions and inventory and everything. Fishing Buddy is just something that helps with fishing, allows you to do things like turn up fishing noises or make casting fishing a double right click or whatever you want. World Quest Lists is how I manage to see all my World Quests simultaneously on my main. All the things is actually this little guy off in the left, and it tells me what percentage of both the zone I'm in, and I can type /ATT, all the things, and that will show me how the percentage of things I have unlocked in the whole game, so it helps just give me goals and track transmog and stuff. Altaholic is what builds in features like when I mouse over my gold, it tells me how much gold I have across all my characters, or when I mouse over an item, it tells me where I have that item on other things. It's like search on Final Fantasy, but because you have multiple characters, you have to have an add-on to manage it. Angry Keystones, I assume will be up to date, but we'll just have to see if it ends up changing. That's what manages your Keystones for your Mythic Pluses. I did my first M0 last night, so we'll see when the M Pluses release in September, if this is the add-on to use for that. Atlas Loot just handles an auto junk and Bagnon. This is just loot and inventory stuff. Atlas Loot, I think, also tells you like where things come from. Bigwig's Boss Mods is just your boss mods, tells you when things are going to happen. There's a native one built into the game on normal mode, but when you go up to harder modes, it disappears, and so this is a way to override that. Bind, Pad, and Click is to allow me to manage my UI a little better, but I haven't been setting it up, so it's just something I've downloaded. Garrison Commander is the exact same thing as the Order Hall one. Gathermate 2 puts little spots. Every time you gather from a node, it puts little spots so that once you've gathered from all the nodes in an area, you have this nice little map so you know where to go to. This, in theory, imports data. I haven't had too much luck with it. Handy Notes is what I use to put all that overlay on the map, and it puts all the missing stuff, missing achievements, missing treasures, missing pets. There's a whole bunch of Handy Notes libraries that I plug in, and that just helps you get like a full clear of a zone. So there's a bunch of Handy Notes, and I just download a ton of stuff there. Hero Rotation is actually, I think that's what that thing is right there that's telling me what spell to cast next. KUI Nameplates just does some modification to nameplates, helps it easier, really nice with War Mode on to make it easier to see Alliance and what class they are and stuff like that. Little Wigs is Big Wigs, but for dungeons. Loot Appraiser Challenge allows you to do Loot Appraiser against other people. I only do it because there's a streamer I watch that does challenges, and you can kind of see on his leaderboard where you fall in that community. Map Coordinates just literally puts the coordinates down underneath my minimap. Nomi Cakes helps you predict Nomi from Legion. Pet Tracker tells you how many pets you have out of the whole zone and what you're missing. Postal is something that I could probably remove because now TSM handles it, but it was what I was using as my mail add-on. I prefer it to TSM, but I want the TSM behaviors that happen for having it. Rarity helps you know like where rare releases are. Those are important for either the loot from them, which can sometimes be worth a lot, especially the old world rares, but also ones you're missing for as parts of achievements. Rematch this is all dealing with pet battles. That's Skada is the damage meter I use. There's a couple good ones out there. Trade Skill Master, we talked about that a little, and there's a bunch of different plugins you can have for it. Most of this stuff is trash now. Most of it falls just under TSM4, so I need to go through and find out which ones are trash and clear it off. I think all these version 3s are gone. Weak auras changes like the way debuffs and stuff are handled, and then that's it. Loot Appraiser allows this window to pop up, but right now it's not working. So, yeah. Do we have a Discord? We do. If you're looking for I don't know a good WoW community, but I know a good Final Fantasy community that's public is Gamer Escapes. Ours is actually not public. It's locked behind supporting the channel to keep trolls out. So if you would like to continue, consider supporting us, Patreon's the easiest one. Just hop over there, and then anybody who kind of contributes, I think it's at the $5 level, that they get it. And then if you're ever on hard times or whatever, we don't kick people out once they're in. We kind of assume that a troll's not going to pay $5 to get past that and then mess with people. And there's a lot of good conversation over there. But there's a lot of great Discord communities out there that are totally free, so no pressure whatsoever. Any advice better to boost for main for your friend? Consider all games. So the best thing your friend can do is they can get a feel for what they like about different classes and go read the class descriptions. This requires, I think, an anvil. So let's just go grab... I know there's one at the engineering trainer. And so what they can do is they can actually do the level trial. I know those were at 100. They talked about moving them to 110. But there's really not a huge difference in most classes' basic rotation and their basic pacing, like their feel between 100, 110, and 120. And so I would encourage them to create a couple like trial characters at 100 and just play those through. And then that will help you decide where to use that boost. Because with purchase of the game, you only get one free boost with purchase of BFA. And if they don't want to buy BFA, they don't get the boost, but then they can actually play for just $15 a month all the way up through the end of Legion. That would be a very slow way to do things. I would always boost my first character. I would just commit. The leveling experience pre-BFA is not an accurate representation. Pre any current expansion is not an accurate representation of whatever MMOs you're playing. Alright, and what was I doing? First we do Blingtron. So you want to do Blingtron once per day, per account. And I'm doing my Blingtron 5000s right now, because I'm still missing loot from that. Didn't get anything good. I got a Thermal Anvil. Those will be worth something when raiding starts, I guess. Well, thank you, Anthony. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, you're in the community now, so just for hanging out. Yeah, we welcome all, but the Discord community is locked behind. That's just another level. It's a way to say thank you to them, and it's a way to be really fair to them and keep the trolling at bay. Because we've found that I don't know what trolls are willing to pay at a troll, but $5 is over that number. There we go. Get my gear parts, and then this guy, go to work orders. Okay. And this guy is herbalist engineer, so I only have one guy to do, and then we're off to do our mining for the day. Here's where I keep all my true iron stuff, and I have a lot of black iron at the moment. I'm sitting on, like, this character's holding 1,000 for no good reason, because I have some in my bank, it looks like. So that Altaholic does the bottom section. So the tooltip, according to base WoW, as we talk about add-ons, would just be the very top section. Blackrock ore sells to the vendor for 7 gold. The next section is Trade Skill Master, and so it tells me where it all is, what it's priced at. The bottom section is Altaholic, which I think is a little easier to read than TSM's tracking across all characters. And so that's what's tracking. That's what makes those tooltips so freaking long. And then because those like actually pull on your process to like go pull all that data, Altaholic, TSM, all that stuff automatically disables itself when you're combat flagged. So when you're in combat with something and you mouse over it, it just looks like the vanilla tooltip and then says, like, TSM cannot show while in combat. And the moment your combat flag drops, the tooltip will go back to being that, like, ridiculous encyclopedia of information. What game is this? This is World of Warcraft. We are in, this is Draenor content right now, which is 5 years old. And then after this, we'll be jumping into a touch of Legion content. And then we'll be popping into Battle for Azeroth, which dropped last week. I'm just going back and farming up some alternate characters. I'm doing some old world content because nobody else seems to want to. So a lot of these items are worth a lot of money right now. So I am doing this to farm money. Because I am willing to come back and sit in old content if they will pay me for it. And they will. And it's relaxing, it's super easy, it's very repetitive. Most of my characters only have like a level 1 or 2 mine in their garrison because I didn't start doing this until right before the expansions dropped. My main has a level 3 mine. That takes quite a bit longer. Thankfully I'm a druid, so I have that nice sprint. Welcome back, Brian. Alright. I don't think somebody would pay $5 just to get kicked out, because we would still kick them. Oh, Ted, we don't expect anybody to donate or join. We've been overwhelmed by generosity, and don't get me wrong, if I could do this full-time for a living, I would, but one of the reasons I haven't been streaming as much is I've been starting to study for, like, real estate exams, because I was working for a builder, and I want to go on my own, and that requires that I get licensed. So I've been working on that on the side, but the reason we've been able to put the amount of content we have lately has been thanks to the Patreons, but we don't expect it. It allows us to do more things, do podcasts more often, because Brian and I both work for ourselves, and so we can literally say, okay, how much does this amount of money buy of my time? So I was already going to put it in as a hobby. If you guys didn't ever give another dime, we wouldn't just shut the channel down. We do it because we love it. But if it is going to generate money, then is there an opportunity here to do it more? Because that's what we want to do with the money. And so it allows us to either buy more games or buy more equipment, or, you know, if I was going to take a side job to like a contract job, because I've taken a lot of contract jobs in the past. If I was going to go work a contract job just to make money, and then this channel is making that same amount of money, then I would just do this, because I would way rather make videos and talk about dungeon guides and stuff with than do a contract job, hands down, like not even close. So Anthony, I love sales. I've been in medical sales, I've been in real estate sales. I don't have my license to be a realtor in the state of Texas, but I don't know that I could ever truly leave sales. Now the guild and stuff, guild and all that, on 14 our free company is just open. You just ask to get in, you're in. No big deal. My guild on WoW is actually, I'm here as a guest, so I don't have that privilege. I'm in a guild full of like X-ranked, like world-ranked raiders and stuff. For anybody who's been in the WoW community a long time, this community is a splinter of the Elitist Jerks community, because the Elitist Jerks community is too large. They all play on the same server, but it's too large to be in one guild, and this is one of the Elitist Jerks guilds. And this is the one that I used to raid with back in the day. I was never one of their primary raiders. I was here as a guest then. I was raiding with a lot of their alts, but one of my good friends raided in one of their legit raid groups. That's how I got my invite. So I could not extend that to anybody else. I am already a guest here. So that is it here. So now we go and do our Dalaran. This character does actually have a decent amount of stuff I can go check in my my monk class hall, and all I'm looking for on this character is pet battles. I want the pet battle badges because there's still a lot of minions I haven't bought off those vendors, and otherwise there isn't really anything I want to spend my work order stuff on. So, I mean, Moral Compass can range wildly depending on the type of sales you're in and how you come at it. I've never personally been able to stick around when that stuff gets really, but I mean, I also come from like a really, like I'm the dumb guy in my family, and so my family likes having a lot of like pie in the sky, like intellectual conversations. And so as kind of the dumbest member of my family exposed to that, it's really just kind of opened me up to like thinking about the world in a lot of really like gray areas. Like everything isn't so clearly defined, because when you think about something from somebody else's perspective, it's not really that bad. And so like there's a lot of things that I don't think are, you know, like for example, when I sold homes for a builder, I have a certain amount of incentive that I'm allowed to give. But if I have $10,000 across 3 houses, I don't have to give that out as $3,333 to all 3 families. So if the first person walks in and says they want to pay full price, and the second person walks in and they said they can't afford it, and we run their credit and they can't afford it unless it's $5,000 cheaper, I can take $5,000 of my incentive for the second family and sell it at full price to the first family. I'm not screwing the first family over in my mind. They said they were willing to pay that price, and I'm giving them exactly what they asked for. And that allows me to serve that second family. So if you can't see the world in that way, and like my brothers are engineers, and while they are like much brighter than me, sometimes they don't always see the world that gray, then sales can be very, very difficult. That's a lot to stomach, but I don't really like it doesn't bother me because I don't see anything wrong with it. Like, because I feel the same way about me. Like if I told you, if I go onto Craigslist and say I want to buy something for $5 and somebody sells it to me for $5, I don't really care what they got it for. I was willing to pay $5 and I got exactly what I asked for, as long as what they gave me was legitimately what they asked for. And then you can always try to go above and beyond and serve that person in an extra way, surprise and delight them in some extra way if you can get them something extra that they didn't ask for that isn't about money. I mean, sometimes what that person who's willing to pay full price wants is you to be really flexible with your time. So I'll stay late for that person because I feel like, well, I mean, you've already paid the full price. Like, I definitely owe you anything I can give you to help out. So what we're doing right there is I'm actually going to Nomi on all my alts with the goal of getting Nomi snacks. So I didn't get any today. So I bought a bunch of those eggs up when they were like 20 copper a piece. Alright. So just take care of the customer. Take care of the customer like they were your own family. So like if my brother said he was willing to pay me $5 to stay at my house, I wouldn't add up what it cost to have him stay here. He was willing to pay $5. If I'm willing to take it for $5, then we're done. Transaction's over. There we go. I think that's it. So that is it here, and I did my little thing. So now I should go to do, engineering, and see if there's anything profitable. So if we go to groups, and we go to turn off inscription, and turn on engineering, and say restock, it says that an auto hammer is expensive right now. I can tell you that's not worth making. Perfect. And then the only other thing I check on my engineer is specifically Goblin Gliders, because even though they don't meet my profit ratios, I'm still willing to do them because of the quantities they trade out on my server. So I can go to my auctions, and I still have plenty sold. I've got plenty listed, so I've still got another 9 stacks listed, so I won't worry about it. I've got 54 minutes until I get paid on my one of them there. And that's it. Monk is done. Next. To my druid. We are flying. Well, thank you. Well, thank you. And definitely, if you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, the simple answer is to just do it. Just go do it. It's awesome. It's so fun. But just do it for the love of it. So I'm scrolling through some comments on Brian's video here, because I figured Brian might do a community feedback on this, continuing his thoughts and how it relates to Final Fantasy. But this video is very specifically about the WoW token subscription thing, and so I'm going to come at this from the perspective of WoW tokens. So I just want to kind of see, like, you know, is there anything in here that I can kind of talk about from a perspective of where it works in WoW? So much of WoW's economy has been broken by all the heirlooms and high-speed leveling that it's hard to tell. I don't agree with that. Heirlooms only allow you to level like 20% faster, and honestly, it's still not fast enough. The WoW marketplace is I don't know. The tokens did not break WoW's economy. I'll agree with that. And that's it. Scroll up a little more. They ignored us on jump potions. I think jump potions needed to come out eventually. I don't think there's anything wrong with jump potions. There hasn't been any real change in the community after WoW implemented this, from what I've seen and heard. That's true. So yep. So those crafter cartels and mafia getting free tub for extorting the market board and driving away other crafters. That is not even remotely how an economy works. So a WoW token is quite literally, oh, you guys remember these? You guys remember these? So we just made all these cloaks, and so this is all those. Let's stop while we're ahead here. So the reason I ran away there, is so that I have plenty of inventory space. TSM destroy. And TSM Destroy allows you to auto-disenchant by just clicking this button. Loot Appraiser I don't have quite working right now. It's missing a dependency of some kind, and I just haven't played with it. So, a WoW token doesn't create or destroy wealth. So one of the things that I see in the Final Fantasy community being fearful about change, which is a natural human reaction. I personally am terrible about being fearful of change that I don't see a good reason for. When you talk about a WoW token, it doesn't create value or subtract value. It just moves value. So you have a group of players that want to pay $15 for gold, and they can already go do that on third-party websites, and they are doing it. There wouldn't be RMT spammers if it wasn't working. They don't just take time out of their day and pay somebody to sit there and spam people so that they can spend money on labor. They do it because it works. And so there's already people that go do that. And then there's this other group of people. Granted, it would be a lot bigger market if it were legal, in my opinion, because there's a lot of people who just aren't willing to go to the shady side of things, but would pay $15 if they could guarantee it was above board. So then there's another group of people who sit on money and think about quitting the game when times get tight for their money in real life. So either they're a student or they're just, you know, going through a phase in their life where the money is better spent elsewhere, and so they choose to unsubscribe. But if they had the ability to do it with in-game time, they have plenty of in-game money, and all you're doing is facilitating that exchange. It doesn't create or destroy any amount of inflation. It doesn't do anything that's not already being done to a lesser degree. Well, thank you, Anthony. Take care. Have a good day. So the WoW gold token doesn't do any of that. Now, the concept that it's going to make the richest players suddenly pay for free, it actually doesn't really do that. Typically, your richest players do one of two things. They either don't engage with it because they play this game to have the most money, and so if they're already paying $15 a month and they want to see how much money they can make, they won't buy tokens because that's not the point. They make money because they like being able to say they made that amount of money, not because the actual amount matters. Seeing if they can make it to gold cap. It's like having a cheat code. It makes the game boring if you use cheat codes. So even if they have the $15, typically they won't engage, is what the WoW community has experienced. And then on the other side of that, they won't buy WoW tokens because they were already willing to pay $15 a month for their sub, and that's not going to change. And they would not give up some of this hard-earned high score, if you will, for something out of game that they already can afford. So I don't really see that as affecting them. That's like saying adding a tanking class to the game will increase the number of people that tank. That's not really how the math works on a large scale. There might be a handful of selected, like, anecdotal people who are like, oh, I would never tank unless there was a blue mage tank, and then I will specifically tank, and then they do. But the vast majority of people that want to tank will tank one of the existing classes. The vast majority of people that don't want to tank would never tank regardless of how many tank classes we add. Unless you make tanking more fun or more rewarding, number of classes is just such a small effect. When you talk about, is money, like, worth... It doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything at all. It literally just Does the WoW token affect the economy? No. All it does is facilitate change and give a usefulness to money for people that don't want to pay their sub. But that doesn't have anything to do with the amount of money they have in game. And would it make crafters in the game suddenly want more money? No, they already want all the money. Like if you feel they're extorting the market, which they're not doing, they're just playing by the rules of the economy. If you feel that they're doing something bad, they're already doing it. So how is this going to make it worse? Like I can't do more than all of it. Like I'm already doing all of it. I'm already doing all the extorting according to that line of thought. So if I'm already doing all the extorting, then how can I be doing more than 100% of the extortion? There isn't more than 100% of extortion available. Next. It just doesn't work that way. And a common misconception with the way it's implemented in WoW is that you buy these tokens and then they're traded on the market at prices that players sell. That's not really how it works. It's totally handled by the auction house. So yes, if anything, Patrick, you're exactly right. It makes the economy stronger, not weaker. It doesn't favor or unfavor any one particular set of players. It doesn't give an advantage to wealthy players or a disadvantage to poor players. It doesn't do any of that. It just facilitates a change that's already happening and gives a usefulness. It gives a relevance. There is something nice about, I don't buy tokens, I don't sell tokens. I pay my $15 and that's enough for me. But it is neat that I'm like, okay, this stack is worth 12 gold. Okay, this stack is worth 5,000 gold. Oh, 5,000 gold. Wow, how much money is that? So like I'll farm, so I'm making 20,000 gold a day right now, and my wife's like, I don't even know what that means. What does 20,000 gold a day mean? And I can tell her, I was like, well, it's about $2. I make about $2 a day in World of Warcraft. And so when you put it like that, it really kind of puts a perspective on it. When people ask the fastest way to make money in this game, it's just because you want to see if you can make the money in game. The fastest way to make money in this game, now that there's a token, would be to go out and mow somebody's lawn for $20 and get 200,000 gold in an hour. But that's not the point. I make money in this game because I want to see if I can make money in this game. I like playing the market. I like putting my middle school economics class to use because in my daily life I don't do that. And like, I'm not going to go take... so we just farmed a little over 2 stacks. So my I'm not going to take $1,000 of my family's money and go play the market, and I can play the market here. So I just find that fun. So the whole economy would have to be reworked? No. No. It doesn't change anything. You just drop it in. Yeah. Yeah. And most people who complain don't know how WoW works, and they just talk about like, well, I don't like Activision, therefore I don't like Blizzard, and I heard World of Warcraft was bad in 2008, so I hate it, and I'll never play it. And so they don't... Hey, that's you, Patrick. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. If you don't know how it works, then this is... That's the hard part about a video like this, is this video is geared towards should Final Fantasy have it, so the conversation is something that we want to have with Final Fantasy players, but that inherently means we're risking people who don't know how the current system works. Because when you ask, do WoW players want it? Well, it doesn't matter, it's already implemented. Let's see... This is what it looks like when I do community feedback for myself. I actually just scroll through. Wow, Patrick, you're in here a lot. Appreciate all the feedback, man. A blatant cash grab. I don't know that anything that Square Enix does is a blatant cash grab. I don't think they're very good at making money. Personally, I think they're really bad at making money. I think they do a lot of things that actively hurt their ability to make money. Okay, so now we need to go in here and we need to make all the enchants that I need to sell for money. And this is usually a hefty list. We'll see. Oh my gosh, it's so big. Okay, and we're actually going to go handle this. So let's open up a task list. And it says I need to go to the auction house. And it wants me to switch to other characters. I am not going to be doing that. Where am I? Oh, I am way down here. Okay. Then let's... Hearth to Dalaran. Thanks, Brian. It's a new idea. Trying it out. Didn't give you a heads up. I'm just scrolling through. we already did 2 WoW videos, and we went through all my add-ons today. So, we are just, it's a good way to kind of keep the conversation alive. I don't know that I'm going to get to stream that much this week, so it's something that I definitely wanted to take some time and get to enjoy with you guys. Alright. So, what we're doing in org, so this add-on's really neat in that it's already checking all the places that I needed to go to get my mats. I don't know why it wants to be on each of those characters, or I would consider just buying those things for myself. But that's okay. I'll take care of it in a second. Alright. From the auction house. This character only has 17,000 gold, so I'm going to have to be really careful here not to... And I can go to shopping, and then I can actually say scan all, and it will create a unique scan for exactly this list of items, and it will automatically scan only that list of items. So that is super cool. It is so powerful. Just as add-ons go. So it is going to scan those. It has 12 items to scan. During that, I am going to go get a glass of water. I'll be right back. Oh yeah, that's the ticket. Look at those ice caps. There's no way I'm paying 651% of the market value. Oh, that is so funny. Oh man. Ted, what makes you say Destiny was the best PS3 game? I liked Final Fantasy XIV on my PS3. Diablo 3 just needs to be cross-platform, where I can log in and log out on different platforms. I understand if you don't want to have me playing with them, but I should be able to just move my inventory over like that. Okay. So, Leylight Shards only needs me to buy 5, so we'll buy 5. They are selling for dirt cheap right now. That's fine. Prismatic Shards wants me to buy 1, I guess, is what it wants. I don't know what it wants me to buy. It'll take things off the list as soon as I've met the requirement. There is no way I'm buying that ice cap for 651% though. $5 silver. What is with people? Why even list it? Why even list it? $5 silver. I mean, you can get a gold out of me for just about all of this. So what we're doing right now is I'm literally buying up everything that my shopping list tells me I need. It's telling me... So what it did is I created a list of all the auctions that I don't currently have one of on the market that are profitable by the amount that I say they need to be, which is a 20% plus 100 gold. And then it takes that list and it says, what is the ingredient, what is the total grocery list you would need to do all of those? And so I'm just buying those right now. And it'll just cost whatever it costs. And at some point here I'll have to send myself more money because I spend all this money on my character and then I ship it to my bank. So my bank makes all the money and then I never really pay myself back. Greater Planar Essence. Wow, this Felhide's kind of pricey for what it is. I mean, it's considering that's 44%, saying that should be trading at 30 gold's outrageous. I have never gotten big into Overwatch. That's never been a big part of kind of my life. All right, let's pull another comment. Yoshi P does not want to clone. Only WoW heads do. That's a common thing. So anytime you compare two things, there's this common theme that people tend to say, like, you can't have ingenuity or creativity if you copied any aspect of it from something that's been done before. But there is very rarely a unique or new idea, just a unique or new execution, either in its timing or in its quality or something like that. And so a lot of times when you want to relate, especially across a language barrier like the Final Fantasy community struggles with, the easiest way to relate things is not necessarily to say it with our words, because sometimes that doesn't come across clearly. It's to point in an example of something that already exists and say, like that, but not. So when you say something like the Mythic Plus system, the Mythic Plus system is a system in WoW where they take affixes, right, where they take modifiers and they apply them to dungeons, and you can scale those up in difficulty. And the way that would layer into Final Fantasy already exists. Deep Dungeon already does this. It puts modifiers on floors and it scales up in difficulty as you climb higher. Now just take that Deep Dungeon and lay it over the top of a dungeon and call it Savage Plus. And if you want to know ideas about how you can consider rewarding it or anything like that, then you can go look at WoW. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, because all the creativity already exists in, you're going to be using Deep Dungeon affixes, or you're going to be using affixes out of other dungeons. Imagine if you take one set of like mobs that have the little explosions like the bombs, and give those bombs to give self-destruct to every monster in an entire dungeon, you know. And so I'm not telling you to take WoW's affixes. Don't do that. That doesn't make any sense, because we don't even know how those work as Final Fantasy players. Take your affixes and apply them to your dungeons. So it's not copying. But yes, it's definitely learning from and inspired from. But that's like saying I make dungeon guides, so I'm copying everybody else that's ever made a dungeon guide on YouTube. Maybe I've seen that person's videos, maybe I haven't, but I'm definitely not copying them. I'm definitely sitting down and making my own dungeon guide with my own gameplay and my own commentary. And I'm not trying to read from their script, I'm not trying to make their points, but we're talking about the same bosses, we're talking about the same mechanics. So if you say that my video seems an awful lot like theirs, well, that makes sense. We're showing the same boss and we're talking about the same mechanics. So those are gonna have something in common. It doesn't mean that one of us copied the other one. This Greater Celestial Essence looks pricey, and we have to get 13 of it? Yeah, no way I'm playing that. If I only needed one, I'd probably buy it at 130%, but I'm not gonna sit there and buy the whole world worth. All right, let's see what that gets us. And so that's kind of a common comment, like, is that only WoW heads want to, like, so to say Yoshi P wants to be unique, because I know him and I really care about him, and he wants to be unique, but this other group of people, I'm going to totally generalize about them, an entire community that isn't even remotely true. It just doesn't make any sense, especially when you talk about, like, so much of these games already have things in common that were done before either of these games existed. Technically, both these games, by that logic, copied EverQuest, which copied D&D. Like, I don't know. I assume Wowhead is also referring to the fact that, like, the largest, like, our largest wiki site is called Wowhead. So wowhead.com is kind of where you go if you just want to Google something on WoW. So I assume that's where they're getting that. Let's see. It doesn't break the economy. It doesn't. It just doesn't. Just a fact. Didn't EVE Online. EVE Online did it way before WoW. That is correct. Zonther is absolutely right. EVE Online did it way before WoW. And it was done a lot like WoW's system. A lot like WoW's system. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Alright, so now what we have to do to gather up for these enchants is I have to jump over to all my other characters. So it says I have to go to Quandia first. Yes, Wowhead is a huge sink on bandwidth, which is why I closed that tab. Wow, this is a big thread. What prompted all this mess? Okay, if you understand economics, then no. Currently, the guild value is driven by quest rewards, selling to NPCs, and world transfers to and from your world. If you add an outside source, such as no. So this person totally misunderstands the whole thing. No, 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 no. So, first of all, the game does not print money if I buy a token. So if I run over, there's an auction house right here. So if I run over this auction house, and I go down here, if I switch to the WoW UI, and I go down to this WoW token, this price right here is set, it is backed by real money, paid for by real players. So this is not creating a brand new 130,000. This is literally, there's a set number of tokens, and every time that number of tokens gets too small, it drives the amount of gold it's giving up so that people are willing to buy more tokens. Anytime it goes the other direction, then it drives the price of gold up so that more people are willing to give up their gold. And it literally just plays that game of tug-of-war, constantly striving for balance. So if they ever run out of tokens, then they just drive up the price of gold and people immediately start spending their gold. You know, or vice versa. I don't know if I'm saying that clearly. But every time it's a good deal for one set of players, they just shift it to the other set of players if it starts to push it too far out of whack. So what I need to do here is I need to send those. And then we need to go to Quan Locks. Perfect. I have no idea what my versatility is like. I'm sitting at like 319 or something right now, so I'm pretty low. I'm not geared that well. I'm geared good enough for heroics. I've run an M0. It wasn't easy. Brian, I absolutely started this off by saying, if you make your own community feedback, I would love to hear about it from it, but you're going to be speaking from a perspective of mostly focused on the Final Fantasy side of things and what it would do to Final Fantasy. I'm really just trying to go through and speak to this from the example of a lot of these are like, it did this in WoW or it didn't do this in WoW, and I either agree with those or don't agree with those. So I need to send get from bank. Is there a bank here? There's bound to be a bank here, right? I don't know if there's a bank here.
No.
Oh, let's see. A bank. The royal treasury is inside the pyramid on the west side of the Great Seal. Okay. West side of the Great Seal. Right here. That looks like a bank. That's a guild bank. Where's my regular bank? Archaeology trainer? I've definitely never been to the bank in this city. The west side of the Great Seal. Port Ambassador. I am so lost. Oh, could be right here. Haha! Great success. Okay. Banker! I need you to pull some stuff out. Perfect. And I think the rest of that's probably fine. I can actually deposit 2 of these back in. Oh, there's that. I knew I had some. Right click to clean up bank. And I can actually drag some resources down and in here, which will allow these to be stored up high. Yep. Perfect. I'm gaining inventory. So, what we need to do with this is I need to send all of this to Quandanu. Now, I would normally just click the send button, which will automatically layer it up, but I actually have 2 cloaks that I need to send. So, I will type it in manually. Okay. Now, next I need to go to Quantania, my demon hunter. Oh, nope. Get back inside so it's faster to log out. It's way faster to log out than for that 20 seconds. Oh! Patrick, chat delay got me. Not to mention, I'm delayed. Alright. So, yes, so then the other person has said is that it would, if you understand, currently gil value is driven by quest rewards, selling to NPCs, world transfers to and from your world. No. So, gil is representative of time, but it is only that it is only representative of the time that was spent at the time it was farmed. So the problem is, an economy is driven by the moving of money, and the printing of money continually devalues time. So anytime there is more money introduced into the game than there is use for it, then you have a problem. So because these characters don't have upkeep, like hunger and rent, and what am I doing here? I am mailing stuff to so-and-so? Is that what I'm doing? I think I was supposed to be... Oh, mail to Condano. Felhide. Sent. Okay, and off to my bank. So, if a game introduces $2 and 2 loaves of bread, and those loaves of bread are worth only $1, then the gold and the bread are exactly representative of the time that created that. If, however, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go to my bank. If the game introduces $2 and no loaves of bread, then actually it has just devalued everything else. 1 second. All right. Sorry. They were here to do something. I don't know. Okay. Salespeople. Totally threw my train of thought. So, the problem with MMOs when comparing them to actual economies is that they introduce hard currency at an infinite rate. So, every time anybody completes a quest, no matter how many times that quest gets completed, that gets introduced as fresh money. And the only time things get removed from the game are consumables and money sinks. Money sinks are repair bills. That is anytime we buy things from the vendor and things like that. But if we get anything in return, that offsets that. So if we get gear that we can sell on the market, if we get an item in trade for buying things off the vendor, that offsets that because now we've shifted part of that value into that item. So the problem with saying that base economy rules work in an MMO is that they don't. Right now, money is introduced into the game, into World of Warcraft, at a much faster rate than items that people are willing to spend their money on, which means that the amount of money in somebody's inventory goes up the longer they've been playing, period, as a general rule for the whole population. It may not be true for each individual. There may be people that only ever have 6,000 gold, but for every person that's like that, somebody else is now a millionaire. So, as a general rule, the total amount of gold on a population of players goes up. And actually, because of things like the Undermined Journal, we can track the amount of wealth that an individual server has publicly. And so when you track that, you can actually see that over the course of each expansion, month over month, that WoW suffers from 4 to 11% inflation monthly. Monthly. That is outrageous. That would crash any economy anywhere in the world. What that means is that every year and a half, your dollar is only worth half of what it was. Which means that if you buy a loaf of bread today for $1, next year, you'll be able to buy that same loaf of bread for half that price. Or for twice that price. It would cost $2 next year. The other way around. It would cost $2 next year because there's going to be so many more dollars in circulation that supply demand is going to adjust the price of that bread to $2 this time next year. Which means sitting on your money is never a good idea because your money is worth less every single day. Having 100,000 gold right now and then you come back in a year, and now that 100,000 gold only has 50,000 gold worth of buying power, kills you. Now, what does that mean when you talk about saying, let me switch to my bank for real this time. What does that mean when you talk about, like, how do I make money in these games? How do I plan for long-term wealth in these games? Well, it means that you need to invest in items that don't lose value. And so that is very, very hard because the current best items in the game have value, but 2 years from now, those items will not move slowly. Those items will be replaced by the newest gear. And so what cost me 100,000 gold today to buy as a chest piece will cost me 200,000 gold to buy that chest piece. Not this chest piece, that chess piece, which means that investing in chess pieces and sitting on them isn't going to be a good idea because they're not going to hold wealth. So the only things that hold wealth are things that exist now, that will exist later, and ideally the supply on those will go down, but the demand will go up, which will allow those items to go up in value at the same rate or faster than inflation. So you're looking at glamour, transmog, right? That's one system. You're looking at mounts, you're looking at minions. Those are the only things that actually go up in value. So when you see somebody like this saying, if you understand economics, it's, do you understand MMO economics? MMO economics follow a lot of the same laws of economics, but they don't follow all of them because our version of the Fed is absolutely insane. We have nobody stopping it. The way the Fed controls the economy here in the real world, here in the United States, that doesn't exist in WoW. There isn't anybody to stop the money from printing. I can go create 25 alts today and do quests on them, and all that gold just comes out of thin air, and they have no need to buy new items because all the items are handed to them from quests. They have no expenses because they don't pay rent, they don't eat, they don't exist, they don't cost anything. And then they have no use for buying any items. They just have money. And what that means is that the first time I come across an item I do want, I'm willing to spend money on behalf of all 25 of those characters. So all of a sudden that item is, oh, that item's really worth 25,000 gold? Well, it is to me. What do I care? What is money useful for? So, what's up, Matt? So I know that was like a lot to digest. Like, I know I was talking about like a lot of, that's like a whole topic in its own, but this statement here is just as dangerous. Somebody who does understand economics is just as dangerous to misunderstanding what this will do to the economy as somebody who just comes in and says, WoW is stupid, don't copy it. Like, if it isn't broke, leave it as it is. Waiting until the game is broken is way too late to fix it. So these two comments here are just as dangerous to the community. Saying that the community should never make another improvement until it breaks is how we have a game fail. Saying that we should not introduce a system into a game because in the real world that system wouldn't work also doesn't make any sense, because the real world and the game world are different in a couple of distinct ways. Let's see. Keep on scrolling. Why should everything be copied by WoW? If I wanted WoW systems, if I wanted Final 14 to have WoW systems, I'd play WoW. I mean, that is literally like saying that, like, Ford came out with a new form of anti-lock brakes, but I drive a Jeep, a Chrysler product, which is now owned by Fiat. So, like, we shouldn't learn how to make those brakes. They shouldn't put those on there. They're saving lives for Ford owners, but if I wanted that, I'd just go drive a Ford. Forget all the other things I like about my Jeep over Fords. If I wanted that one feature, I would just go drive a Ford. Like, that's once again an oversimplification. Yeah, Matt. I mean, if you guys want to play, I'm totally down. What am I doing here? I am sending... Oh, get from bank. Essence of Fire. Alright. I knew there was a reason. And then it says I have to switch to Quantania again. I did that once, didn't I? Essence of Fire. Give me that. Yep. And now it says Essence of Fire needs to go over to... Send. Okay. It says I missed something on Quantania. Oh, crap. I missed it on McFearbank. I didn't hit send! So close! I mean, we should totally be running some... I assume you're talking about Anthony Anders, so I assume we should be doing some M+ stuff. We should run some M0s. They're very hard right now, and they're weekly locked out, which is a bummer because you have to hard zone them. All right, let's send to Wandanu. Send mail. Now let's try logging out. I'm gonna get this. I just can't talk and do all this at the same time. All right. See if there's anything else. It will only wreck the iffy economy and brings more toxic players in the long run. So first of all, I don't understand how gold tokens brings in more toxic players. Just as a question. Wrecking the economy, I also don't understand. So I guess I would need more explanation on like what their fear is, because it just doesn't, I guess, function like that. So I guess I didn't type in that. That was all I was missing. All right, now we go back to my main and we make these enchants for real. Oh, something in 14. Different Anthony. Yes. Community event. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Yes. More community events. I wish there was a way to do more, like, obscure things. Like, track, like, who can run a dungeon faster or something like that and set up, like, rivalry groups. I don't really know how something like that would form. Alright. So, now what it's going to do is I'm going to open up this mailbox, and in it, there's going to be a bunch of mail, one from all my different alts, and there's going to be a bunch of different items that are going to trickle in. And then it is going to say, I need to make a bunch of, oh, those are on cooldowns. I don't know why it does that. It doesn't seem to detect that temporal crystals are on cooldowns. There is no way I'm buying that ice cap. Like, that is an outrageous price. Perfect. And I think that's it. I'm just grabbing the easy ones first, the ones that I already have all the mats for. So now it wants me to make 3 large prismatic shards. 1, 2, 3. And then it wants me to make heavenly shards. Is that not right? Heavenly? Temporal crystal? Okay, our temporal crystals, they trade at 21 gold a piece. But they're really cheap to make, so that's why that gets all jacked. Interesting. Now the Celestial Essence, I'm not going to buy that up, because it's just trading at an outrageous price right now. Ah, got it. Enchant Weapon Mongoose. Great. I'm pretty sure that's one of my more expensive ones, or one of my easier to sell ones. Something I see a lot. There's no way I'm going to do that. 10 Heavenly Shards. Wow, that's expensive. Temporal Shard, no. Temporal Shard, no. Temporal Shard, no. Ooh, Celestial Essence, no way. And Heavenly Shard, no. Sorry, buddy. Alright. So now, with those done, I am done with my farming for the day. Usually only takes me like right at an hour, but usually I'm not like chatting and having fun while doing it. I'm just kind of focused. Okay. So what I do with that is I jump over to my bank character. Would I like to see something like Extreme Dungeons? Absolutely. I know Brian and I have talked about it a lot. Savage Plus, WoW has a Mythic Plus system, and so basically what that would look like if you took a Final Fantasy version of it, like a translation, is you would take the affixes from deep dungeons that can kind of form on each floor, and the ability to see how much harder it gets the deeper you go into the deep dungeon, and you would basically lay that on top of dungeons. So you would be able to choose what floor of the dungeon you do, and then that would assign random affixes for the week, and then it would give rewards based on how deep you're able to go. And it would say, this week, you know, this is the dungeon you have to do, or these are the affixes you have to take, or so there would be a way of keeping you from just cherry picking whatever the easiest is. So, and it's this constant challenging rebirth of the dungeons. Inbox. Alright, and so we just made all those. And the reason that it picked those out is like that costs 2 gold, sells for 150, that costs 2 gold, sells for 500, that costs 600 gold, sells for 1500, so you guys get the idea. So this stuff, those are profitable enchants. So we'll go to auctions. Actually, we'll go into TSM and go to auctions and scroll down, turn off inscription, turn on enchanting, and run a post scan. And all that's going to do is it's going to scan the items in my inventory that are part of enchanting. So it's not going to check all this other junk in the bottom, because I already ran that stuff this morning. No need to run it again. I think it caters to a different crowd. So it caters to people who like the idea of hardcore content but aren't willing to commit to the hardcore schedule of like organizing with a static group of people to run every week. So, you know, if you just have a couple of friends and you want to do a 4-man and just crank it out, you can do that. And then the way WoW does it is it literally releases the same gear from like a look standpoint. It's just at a higher eye level. So I'll show you on my, so you say you were able to find, in a level 70 dungeon, you were able to find Cloak of the Dude. And you found this Cloak of the Dude and it's eye level 200. And you don't need 200s anymore because you're dealing with Savage gear. Well, they can say that at that same dungeon on Savage plus 5, it's going to drop the same Cloak of the Dude, same look, but it's going to say next to it, Savage plus 5, and then it's going to jump that eye level up to like 230, or whatever was equivalent, so that people of that Savage tier at that time could go clear. And so as people's gear gets better, it gets easier to go in further and further into this Savage Plus system, and so you can actually gear up to current content that way. So by the end of an expansion, we might be clearing Savage Plus 20, and that'll be dropping like your 370s, but it's still Cloak of the Dude. They didn't make any new items. It's just existing items with a higher gear level. And so the way you get further and further into it is you keep doing it, and you just keep doing it, and you just keep doing it. But it's not always the fastest and easiest way to gear up. It's easier to go sit in raids or something like that. So it's not an effective way of gearing. And then your cap, you only get one piece each week. So instead of it dropping, what it does is it gives you one piece every Tuesday based on your highest run of the previous week. So you're only getting one piece a week. So it's not like, oh, well, people who just play a lot, they'll just outpace raiders by pushing into this positive feedback loop eternally. No, they're getting 52 pieces a year over all those content patches that roll out. So you're not going to level that fast. It drops loot at the end of each dungeon, but that is not what you want. What you want is the weekly piece. The weekly piece is what gets that big modifier added to it. And you can't control what slot it falls for, so you could get shoulders over and over and over and over, and then that's not really going to push your eye level up that much because you've still got all these other slots that are sitting way down there. So you're going to want to go run other types of content in addition to this. It's just a way of adding variety to the game. So that's going to post 14 enchants, which is definitely the ones that it just grabbed, but also a couple of these have apparently moved in price. And that's it. That is how I make money every day. So today it took longer because I was hanging out here, but I've got all these items listed. This character, for example, has 351 auctions listed for a total of 708,000 gold. So we'll log out. They would have already done it. I mean, I don't know. The Mythic Plus system was new to WoW, and they're now in their 8.0 series. So, I think they just, you know, there's plenty of content that they just haven't come out with yet. So, what is something that gets you beyond, like, Expert Roulette right now just really means level 70. There's nothing expert about it. You don't have to, like, CC mobs, and you don't have to worry about it. Like, running Mythics is hard. It is blatantly hard. Things will kill you. And running them at the really high levels is like running really high rifts in Diablo. Things will just kill you. No amount of gear will fix it. There isn't room to make mistakes. Oh, I made a pet that I needed to send off. Oops. Here, take it down. Okay, so let me show you. So last night I ran, so this says Mythic. I ran Mythic 0, so it says Mythic. So I got Harlan's Loaded Dice, and it's made into an epic quality Based on the eye level, it is relevant to the item that's dropped. So there might be other Hardlands loaded dice out there that are not 340 that might only be blue quality. So this is what it looks like. It only drops in Freehold, and I got it on Mythic, and so it tells me the difficulty I got it on and the eye level that's associated with it. If I got that on high, like, so that's why that is. You can also have a chance for things to Warforge. So there, that item I got on Heroic. That item Warforged, which means every time you drop, there's a small % chance that the item will go up by a little bit. So it's supposed to be a 325, instead it's a 330, because it Warforged. That's just luck. You can also get what's called like Titan Forged, which gives you plus 10 eye levels for doing nothing. It's just luck. Okay. So this character's ready to go home. Making hearth. So I think it would just be a way of adding more replayability to people that don't want to do 8 and 24-man content. They just want to queue with their few friends. I don't have that many friends that play super actively anymore, so it's really easy to expect 3 of us to be online at the same time. It's really hard to expect, you know, me and 7 others to be online at the exact same time. Mythic dungeons are also like something that it's a little different every week. So instead of them having to constantly reinvent bosses and stuff, they can just layer it on top of the existing dungeons. We'll fly on back here. I think that's it. Now, I do need to check my world quests and see if there's anything amazing up. What I'm missing... I can't move this pane like I can in 14, I guess. I can move a lot of panes, not all of them. So what I'm missing, eye levels that I'm at below 325, is wrist, back, hands, waist, feet, and trinket. Wrist, back, hands, feet, trinket. Wrist, back, hands, feet, trinket. Zandalar. No. 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 Hands. And finger. Alright, so we need to go do those. Up in Nazmir. And the closest flight point is going to be Gloom Hollow. So, I'll go turn on my mission board real quick, and we'll go do that daily, and then I will wrap up. Thank you. So you maxed herbalism and mining and making gold with that. So alchemy is good. The key to knowing how to make money in alchemy is being ready for the first raid tier. Right now you're probably leveling it at a loss because the number of people planning on doing that. What I would say instead is the easiest way to make money off of kind of where you are is if you're maxed herbalism and mining, consider picking up inscription or jewel crafting so that when ore or herbs are below a certain price, you can mill them or prospect them. So you're taking your existing inventory and turning it into more money. Pet charm, done. I think, do you have anything else for me?
I have nothing to say to you.
Oh, I'm not going to wait on those. That's ridiculous. I don't need the gold. I need stuff. Alright. Do they outcast rogues? No, but like if a rogue doesn't, like an assassination or whatever, it is easier to get sympathy and like get a whole bunch of people to camp that rogue into oblivion. Because nobody appreciates being camped by a rogue. But no, there's plenty of rogues. There's plenty of rogues. If I go to my guild pane, I don't know. There's plenty of rogues. Like, I can see rogues talking in my guild chat right now. People who are on rogues.
They say you have the heir of the throne.
Alright. Off we go! Perfect. You never do your expert roulette? I mean, that's the question, is like, what's the point? If you don't need tomes right now, and then when tomes come back, you just run them till you're at cap, or you go run Pagos still, you know, like, And so if instead, you know, for however far you got within a Savage Plus each week, you got one extra piece of loot that was honestly geared pretty close to what you'd go get in Savage, then it's like, well, once a week I can get this Savage piece if I'm willing to clear a mythic of that difficulty. But like, those mythics are no joke. And gear doesn't make them easier, because the way mythics work, it's the affixes. So like, if you had like an Aurum Veil type thing where there were these stacks and you had to push through the dungeon and get all these little, and you had to keep picking up the fruit that was throughout the dungeon like you do in Aurum Veil, and that was layered on top of a normal dungeon, no amount of gear keeps that stack from killing you. It's going to kill you. And so your group has to keep moving. And the thing about mythics is they're timed. So you get a key to take you into whatever difficulty. You don't just pick your difficulty from a drop-down. And so if you want to get a higher difficulty, you have to clear it in a certain amount of time or less. So it's constantly about how fast can you go? How fast can you go? So it's intense. It keeps you moving. So it just forces groups to just keep doing harder and harder stuff for the purpose of getting better and better gear, in hopes that they can live through more and more. You know, you hope to be able to live through one mistake in Mythic. Odds are you won't. It usually just about, by the time you get up to a decent difficulty, usually one mistake wipes the group. And then for every death, your group takes a time penalty. So a full wipe costs you like 30 seconds or something goofy. Plus the time it takes to run back. That's just like a fixed penalty. There we go. If I had a full group right now, I'd run a Mythic with you guys. I'll try to stream next time I run a Mythic, but I don't know if I'll be able to talk, because I don't know if they're going to be down to be in voice chat, but yeah. So we're here to grab hands. So this is a world quest. So this takes the place of Beast Tribes. So WoW used to have daily quests, which were almost identical to Beast Tribes. I don't know whose system came out first. That doesn't really matter. It's a boring system. And it's literally just quests that pop up every day. Whoa. No! Oh, I get to be the frog again. Yes! Oh, this is awesome. No, my add-on's asking if I want to join other people for this. No, I don't. I want to kill everybody as my own frog. Thank you. I have an add-on that helps me look for groups when world quests get really hard. Because some of the world quests are meant to be done as groups. Oh, this is ridiculous. So there was a quest like this. So what world quests do is they borrow from quests. So there was like, basically this was a quest out in the world, and people really liked it. So they can make it a world quest, and then you can do it over and over later. So if you had like a favorite scenario quest, you could go back and replay that scenario quest over and over and over for Beast Tribe rep. So basically there's a Beast Tribe that sums up this zone, and then every quest I do in this zone, both the actual quest and world quest, gives me rep with them. So you do all the initial quests, and it gives you some rep, you know, but you're not capped with, right? You're not capped with the little frog people or anything like that. There it is. It'll lag for a second because I got too many add-ons running. So I got 320 hands. I have 310s equipped, so we'll replace those. And then we'll disenchant this. And actually I still have 2 cloaks down here that need to be disenchanted. And so what that does is, I have an add-on that's helping me track them all, but otherwise there's a normal interface that's over here. It's kind of hard to read. This is much easier. And so these are all quests that existed out in the world. And like sometimes they invent something new, like they're like this one here takes you into a dungeon, and it'll be like, kill this extra guy that we're going to put in dungeons, and he's a bonus guy, and that guy's only ever up when this quest is up. And then you can pick the rewards. So this one will give money. These will give basically the same as your Grand Company resources. This will give the same as like relic experience. And then this one here will give a ring. So that's the one I want to do. So I have an add-on that tracks that for me, so that I can have a little GPS arrow. So Super easy. I think that Final Fantasy has so many neat systems, like squadrons and chocobo companions and hunts and fates and beast tribes. I would love to start seeing these overlap, and I would love to start seeing these have long-term benefits. If I want to do my hunts every day, what does that get for me? Right now, a whole lot of nothing. I mean, it gets you stuff at first, and then once you're done with that, you're just done with that content. So I would love to see them start adding in some ability to kind of prestige through those systems and start giving you cosmetics or giving you non-game breaking upgrades. Like if you want to make I mean, let's be real here. Teleport costs are not breaking the game. So if you want to say that somebody who's played, you know, 100,000 hours now has the ability to buy an item for 100,000 gil that makes all their teleports half cost, the game is making money by giving that to that person, because they have to do 200,000 gil worth of teleporting to make it up, and they've already put in the time. Just give it to them. It's fine. If you want to make them fly 1% faster in a certain zone, that's fine. I don't care. Like, it's not going to break combat or anything. We don't have world PvP. So just to give somebody, if somebody does 1,000,000 turn-ins or whatever with their grand company for botany, and you want to give their botany nodes a 0.01% chance of dropping a mount after that, that's fine. And they can have this unique mount that drops, but it can only drop from botany nodes after your 1,000,000th turn-in or whatever. Just something to encourage people to play more infinitely, more long-term. Man, that's a big dinosaur. My gosh. Don't mind me, buddy. Alright. Get people out in the world. Get people out playing. Oh, nope. Cloak. Hide. That was 2 Alliance players. And they can absolutely kill me. And they are looking for me? Oh, that's a Horde player. Okay. And 3 Alliance. Oh gosh, he mowed that guy down. Okay. See if we can PvP. Man, I don't like rogues. Come sit down here and wait and see if that rogue pops out. Okay, rogue seems to be leaving us alone. 2 paladins and a druid's a little much for him. Like, the level sync system's great. Why level sync isn't in Pagos is ridiculous. I'm not asking for them to, like... It's their system. I'm just asking for them to use something that they already have. Who's throwing these spears into this guy? See, there's a warrior over there who has to just sit and watch because he can't join in because we'll kill him.
Hopefully that is the last we have heard of that foe.
Alright. Let's go see if that's an upgrade. I got a 315. Nope, didn't. I needed it to forge to be an upgrade. Which is just a % chance. And that's it. That's all the world quests that, like... So then what you would do is you would work on emissaries, and this is how they get you to basically do your beast tribes every day. So I have to go do the Horde War Effort, which just says any 4 quests that fall on Coltiris, which is the Alliance thing here. So I can come do any 4 world quests on Coltiris, and over on Coltiris, I can go look and say, are there any that interest me? Well, this honor-bound one interests me. So I can come do this. And it's right there. So to grab that, the fastest way to do so... Ooh, Boghopper. Nice. I could grab that pet. I have a minute to kill. Alright. So we're going to come get ourselves a pet real quick. This is their pet capturing system. It's like Pokemon out in the world. So it'd be like if Verminion was actually out in the world. So take Triple Triad trainers and take the Lords of Verminion system and just jumble it all up, and you end up with their pet battle system. They don't have anything like Triple Triad. They don't have a card game in-game. But they don't have a junky Lords of Verminion game. They have actual real pet things that you do. So I have a team of my 3 of my 500 or whatever pets. Oh, come on. You had World Quest to go to an Alliance City. Yeah, exactly. So my fox is dead. Because he couldn't get the capture. Come on. Da-da-da-da! Now this guy will probably die in like 3 hits. Big hit, big hit. Yes! So that's really it. I think I'll probably... I need to go do that Alliance quest at some point, but now probably isn't the time. I've been live 2 hours, so I think I'll probably just hearth back after this and then take a break. I got a little more stuff to do this afternoon that I got to take care of. The World Destroyer always comes back. He always comes back for a second round. And I want him to be dead at the end of the round. That's why he has a self-heal ability. I don't use it. I want him to be dead because he's level 25, and I want this Locust to get the experience from the fight. And having a level 25 alive at the end of the fight, dead pets don't get any experience. And so I want the level 25 pet to be dead so that my 22 here can... Now my 22 is going to soak all the experience for that fight. So it just got 620, which leveled it up to 23. Alright. See if that goes down before the warrior gets to me. Otherwise, we're about to PvP. But yes, all of my world quests on the Alliance Zone are to like break into their cities and either sabotage or free people or get information, and then all my ones on my side are about like helping rescue my team, build up defenses, things like that, and then replaying quests from throughout the campaign. They have a war campaign on that side, which is your story mode. It's a totally separate progression. So you have a war campaign over here. My war campaign I'm currently caught up on until I get my reputation with my offensive faction a little higher. And then on my side, I have a faction for each of my zones, and then I have all those quests, just my normal quests, and those quests also can become world quests. So that is it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much. Hopefully this was a good chance to kind of talk about some of the things that translate, show off a little bit of kind of the things I'm working on in WoW right now, because not all of them are ready to become guides, but they are interesting concepts. And then get a chance to talk about some community feedback and talk through a couple of videos that I think are really big in our community as far as like the way WoW is affected, and just things that I wanted to be more conversational about and talk more with you guys instead of just put out a video and watch the comments section. This was definitely a fun new format. Hopefully you guys like it, and I might end up doing it again sometime. We'll just have to see, and I will see you guys later. Have a fantastic day.